So in this quick video, we're going to show you how to install the Innovatools collapsible stand on your VanMark brake in a few easy steps. So we'll do the detailed assembly on one side and then the quick assembly on the other side, because it's going to be the exact same. For this assembly, you will need a 9/16 socket, ideally with a impact driver and an extension or a hand ratchet. You will also need a 3/8 socket with a driver ideally, or hand one if you prefer, and an adjustable wrench. So you'll notice the kit comes with some different hardware, so we'll proceed with that as we complete the installation. You'll also notice that we have 8 blocks or 8 set of blocks that are going to be adapters to mount the stand to the brake. So you'll notice that the clamps are designed with holes and threaded holes one way, and other holes on one side where they don't have. So we'll have to make sure that the orientation is facing the correct way. So the first step of what we're going to do is we're going to take a set of block, and we're going to mount the blocks on the back end side here. So what we want to do is make sure that the holes are located towards the end of the brake for the back ones, and we want to have the smaller 1/4-inch hole facing the outside of the brake. So we'll slide that over like so. I'll grab some of the 3/8 bolt and we'll hand tighten everything with the bolts facing this way. So I'll do this one and then we'll repeat the same on the other side. So again, make sure that you have the smaller hole facing outwards and the bigger hole facing this way. We'll grab another set of bolts. So we're grabbing the long 3/8 bolt and sliding that over like so. Now that they're there, we'll take our 9/16 socket. What we want to do with those first 2 ones, we're going to push them tight against the casting. And then secure it in place properly. What we're going to do next is we're going to take our legs. Before we mount the next block, we'll take the legs. You'll see that there's a mirror to them. So there's 2 going on that end, 2 going on that end. When we mount the legs, we want to make sure that the red levers are facing each other. So the 2 red levers should be towards one another. We'll grab our extension along with the leg and the 2-inch 3/8 bolts and ensure that the bottom hole lines up with the hole on the block. Secure that in place and repeat with the bottom leg, or the front leg in this case. Make sure you're lined up. Take the drill. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 other blocks that are going to be for the front. Again, we want to make sure that the 1/4-inch is facing outwards this way and the 3/8 bolt is facing towards that way. So on these blocks we wanted the holes facing this way, on this block we want it facing that way, but the smaller bolt is always facing outwards. We're not putting a smaller bolt on that end because it doesn't need to. This is only for the hinge side of the leg. So make sure you got the right and the left accordingly. So we'll slide that over like this, and then we'll take another 3/8 bolt and we'll secure that first prior to mounting the bottom block. It'll just make things easier. So you can lift it up a little bit, get that bolt started, make sure everything lines up nice. Repeat with this one. So we're nice and tight. We'll switch to the 3/8 socket and we'll add the 1/4-inch bolt on each side. So this one here. And then this one on the exterior as well. So as you can see here, we got the 3/8 bolt and the 1/4 inch that's on that side that are mounted to the block. So this is going to rest like so. And then same on that side, we got the 3/8 bolt on this hole and the 1/4 inch bolt on that end. And then here we only need to use the 3/8 bolt on these ends, and you want the 2 levers facing one another. So now the next step will be to put the bottom clamp on. So we're gonna take 4 long bolts again, and just hand tighten, or just start the bolts without tightening them completely. We'll repeat with our block here. So now that we have that, what we want to make sure is we'll loosen that up here. And you'll notice that there's a notch here on the underside. There's this notch here. So what we want to do before we tighten this clamp, we want to go in the locked position where the lever releases back. And you'll see that we have about a 1/2 inch of play. We'll go right down the middle. Once that's set halfway on that adjustment, then we can secure everything nice and tight. So we'll take our 9/16 and secure that clamp. Again, we'll repeat the same on the other side. So we'll release the adjustment. So as you can see, it pulls out. We'll push it back in until it latches and the lever comes back. And then we'll check again. So we have our about 3/8 of play. We'll go halfway down the middle of that adjustment, and then we can secure this side. And that's it for the installation of our legs. If you want to be sure that you're about at the right spot when we say the adjustment, from the outside of this clamp here to the outside of this clamp, I have 35 and 5/16. But like we said, you have about 3/8 of play. So this sums up the installation of the legs. So the next step will be to mount the wheels. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to mount them on the outside. You'll notice that we have the big 3/8 thumb screw at the top here. If you rotate this way, you got the clearance of that finger that clears the wall. If you turn it the other way, you don't have that clearance. So in order to slide it over, make sure that you have it pushed over so that you can clear the tube. So the first step will be to make sure that you have the clearance. You'll slide it over to the side, and then you'll go close enough that you have room all around the wheel so that the wheel can spin freely without rubbing against anything. And then you can hand tighten it, make sure that this works. If you want to double check, from the side here to the end of the wheel, you should be at about 6 inches. So this will give you the clearance for that. You'll notice here we have another smaller thumb screw. This locks the wheel in place. So whenever you're parked, and if you have it in storage or in a trailer and you don't want to move around, simply tighten this 1/4 inch thumb screw just to stop the wheel. But whenever you want access to it, loosen it, and you'll notice that the way it's designed, it can't unscrew and come out, so you're not going to lose that. We'll repeat the same with that wheel as well. So again, make sure that you flip this finger in the right way so that you have the clearance. Slide it over, turn the finger in place, and again we can use the measuring tape to make sure that we get to our 6 inches distance that we've preset on the other side. Otherwise, the stand might drag sideways and crooked when you wheel it around. Once you've confirmed that everything is good, you got the clearance everywhere you need, you can take your wrench and give a good yank on those big thumb screw to make sure that everything is secured and nothing's moving. And that's it. We'll repeat the same on the other end, and then we'll be able to flip the brake down to set it up and get ready to use it.